If you're a woman in your 40s or a man in your 60s and you have any concerns about bone density, which you should in general, for prevention of osteopenia or dealing with osteoporosis, there's three big hurdles that you're going to need to overcome. And this is a hard thing to do because you got to have them all working well with you together. And that means the high intensity resistance training, that's what the research shows, through heavy spine load, hip load, and leg load, as well as the technical aspects. And then finally, the belief system. So in terms of the spine being loaded and hips and legs is done through squats, deadlifts, and rows. So when I do a deadlift, for example, I want to make sure I have solid shoes. Because a lot of people, when they do these deadlifts, particularly the seniors, they often have shoes that are comfortable, but they're not very stable. And that greatly affects their balance and ability to recruit the main muscles that they're trying to load, which in this case with the deadlift, you're trying to load your hips, that means hamstrings and butt, and back and core muscles, and they'll respond best when you have the right stability. So when I'm doing this exercise, the technical aspects are pretty difficult to do. You don't want to be getting a cookie cutter approach from the internet that tells you the generic type of things that you're going to need. Instead, having a very good trainer will help you make sure you have the right load, the right repetitions, range of motion, intensity, speed, resting periods, days per week, and the proper progressions. So that's a lot of information, and the concentration of that you need to do is pretty intense for a good 1 to 2 minutes nonstop. So those technical aspects should be very well laid out with a trainer to make sure that you are properly doing this for at least a year. Because if you're going to do a DEXA scan annually or biannually, we want to show that there are significant improvements, and they're going to need to be doing this at least 2 to 3 days a week for a long time consistently. So for me, with my clients, I typically only take about 30 minutes of 2 to 3 days a week to achieve these three different exercises. The second exercise is the squats, and we know that in general, when people start losing muscle and bone density, they lose it in the glutes, in the back, and in the quads. So I do the squats, and that simply means I'm bending a lot more at my knees now than just at my hips. And the intent here is to load the spine again, but also more intensely load the quadriceps and the hip muscles. So the third exercise is simply going to be rows, and those rows can be done at many different angles. So if I take my load here again and I grab a bar or any type of attachment and I hold my pelvis in this position and I practice rowing, pulling, or I progress into a single leg assisted row, now I can challenge my hip muscles and my back muscles laterally. And we know through research that multi-directional, multi-loaded angles with the pelvis, legs, and spine help to further improve the bone density rather than just generic movement patterns. So those progressions need to be weaved into the program through the coming months. So with that said, the third process here that is very important, if not the most important, is a belief. You have to believe in yourself that you can do this. So it's up to me, for example, for my clients to show them that they can do it. They have their nutrition set up. They have their weight training protocol set up. And they have to also believe that the research makes sense to them. So I give them research to say, hey, this is what's going to work for you based upon the research. You should be able to achieve X, Y, Z results in a given year to 2 years. And finally, if you're going to be hiring a trainer, which I strongly suggest you do for all of this, the trainer needs to be very skilled, experienced, and have a very strong desire to make you successful.